coffee. Smoking hot coffee. Smoking hot coffee.
Hello everybody, I'm Amul, I'm in Los Angeles. You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show where we talk about internet startups, marketing, design, monetization. I'm joined with...
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton and I'm down here in San Diego.
And Jeff, so this is cup number 39 of our show. We're still cranking along.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
No, great. Another day, another cup. It's Friday, March 29th.
Yeah, Friday, March 29th. Okay, so yeah, let's get right into it. So I think the big news that we wanted to cover was, let me pull that up, was this crazy attack, DDoS. So for those that don't know, what exactly is DDoS, Jeff?
Distributed denial of service attack.
What does that mean? Let me bring up our graphic for this one. What does that mean, DDoS?
So basically, it's just like a flood of traffic. The servers get overwhelmed, and I think there's some technical aspects to it where it's basically like going and typing Google and hitting enter in your web browser like millions of times really quick. In a way that Google's unprepared to kind of handle it. I don't know all the science behind it in the latest, but you basically end up fighting this effort of like who's actually in a browser trying to hit enter and who's actually this fake robot trying to hit you.
All right, so this
so it's
isn't
difficult, right? It's a problem.
So this isn't just one person doing it a million times. This is probably thousands of requests from all over the world, possibly even.
Right, the
hitting
capital
this one
D of
machine.
distributed. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, hitting this one machine at so hard that it's unable to cope with that. And so apparently it's saying that the internet slowed down because of some...
Yeah, so I think we might have scrolled past this story on Tech Meme in our show yesterday or the day before. I thought, wow, that crazy headlines of like several stories about the largest attack on the internet, blah, blah, blah. I didn't feel anything. I don't know if you felt anything slowed down.
I didn't feel anything either. Yeah.
But it turns out that this is kind of a specific issue that a group called Stophouse has with Spamhaus, a whitelist provider.
Yep.
So apparently there's a lot of people that have some beef with this company.
Yes.
And it says that they, in this article, which is from RT.com, so it's a little bit more flavorful than maybe our American journalism, but they say that basically these guys, Spamhaus, are like a mafia. They use mafia tactics to whitelist you. So in other words, if you get if you have a startup and you get big and you're sending out these password reset emails and registration, a lot of automated social network emails.
Or notification emails or all these type of emails.
If you're on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube, any of these things, you know that you get several emails from them every day.
Right.
And once you start sending those out to all of your users coming from one domain, you know, youtube.com or facebook.com, you get into trouble with all the, getting flagged as spam, and you're sending tons and tons of robotic emails, and so you basically have to get whitelisted, which means paying these people some money. And I don't know, it's an interesting story. I think it's clearly an interesting space with all the marketing, and we talk about how valuable email is, but then on the other end we have stuff like this, and I got to go take a look at what Stophouse is, but apparently there's a big... well, yeah, but there's it sounds like there's a group of people called Stophouse that are actively angry at this, this group.
So what's happening is much like back in the day where there used to be just one or two registrars. Now we've got several. Spamhaus, I think, is maybe just one of the very few whitelisting type outfits out there. And so if you get somehow blacklisted by these guys, then you're screwed. And so I guess a lot of people are upset about that, or several very powerful people are very upset at them, and they're hitting these guys pretty hard to try to bring them down.
And did you read the Cloudflare? I guess is got in the middle here.
Yeah, Cloudflare is in the middle of this, right?
Accidentally got themselves some bad press. I guess they were trying to help ease the pain on Spamhaus.
Spamhaus, yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, what do you think? What do you take?
Honestly, I like the idea of being able to have lots of companies in this space, but if Spamhaus is one of the very few, and if you accidentally or for whatever you get on their bad side and you don't have a lot of recourse, then I don't, that's kind of fucked up. They do have a lot of control. They have a lot of power and they have a lot of control. And I'm not so sure if I'm gonna be. I'm not sure. I don't know who's behind these attacks. Supposedly they mentioned China and Russia. A lot of Russian hackers and Chinese hackers. I don't know. But either way, this is a very interesting story. It hasn't hurt up my internet usage at all. So, but yeah, when you have when you have an outfit that controls a large part of our, email identity and email deliverability, then yeah, they're definitely going to be put on the radar for some of these guys that want to bring them down. So, yeah, that's
good stuff to know about. I mean, I think it's a big topic. It's going to be ongoing. I guess ultimately you could choose not to use a blacklist from Spamhaus, right? Which I think is kind of the root of the problem.
Yeah.
But then again, spam. So it's
all right. So
ongoing battle.
Yeah. So all right. With that, let's get on with our startups, Jeff. Unless you have anything else to add.
No, let's jump right in.
All right. So let's see. We've got several here that we've added. So let me go ahead and let's start with Floaty here. Floaty.co. Be always with your customers. Okay. So here we are. Floaty.co. Be always with your customers. Very clean site. We've got a banner at the middle here. Create mobile site for your local businesses. $9. Oh, that's nice. Very cheap. $9. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's very cheap. I think they're all these whole website builder, type services. They're all about, $7 to $10, $12. So it's about the same. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Learn More here. And why should you have a mobile site? And they're talking about our stats. All these people are searching. Blah blah blah. All right. So we've got a clear reasons. It'd be nice.
You have
if
to
they
have
had
a mobile site, right? I mean, everyone is looking for business. I don't know. To me, the Yellow Pages is in your pocket at this point.
I agree, but what I don't understand is why do you need a separate site for mobile? Your site should just be
I agree.
okay for mobile.
Right.
I know a lot of people are big on this whole responsive web design. I happen to not like responsive web design as much as everybody else likes it. One of my big issues with responsive design is that when you start getting sites that are thin like this, it's okay. This is fine. But what ends up happening is when you get sites that are really long, the images get really stretched out. The grid gutters and everything between, the way the columns are laid out starts becoming really stretched. The text starts getting really stretched, and that breaks.
How often does it get that wide, though?
It doesn't get that wide very often, but it's an issue that I've noticed that people that are doing responsive designs don't look at. They just ignore it, and that really irritates me. So. And I'm not a huge fan
I think we've been focusing on mobile and tablet, but maybe what you're saying is the next responsive size to design for is like the big screen.
Yeah, the big screen. So
16 by 7 or whatever.
So here's the size that you would get if you were on a small little phone. I don't know if I like this size. Everybody likes this whole one column thing. I would actually prefer it to be the normal size, and people just pinch in and pinch out. Like on most phones, you can pinch in. I don't know if I want the thing to be one column. I don't like sites that are one column. I would prefer it to have the multiple columns, and I want to zoom in, I can zoom out. So I'm not a big fan of it. I know a lot of people are. I may be going against the grain here, but
let me add one more case to your argument, which might be true, may not be, but is a common argument that people throw out there about a reason to have a mobile site in disregard of a full site is that you want it to be faster. So sometimes a responsive site it'll still load as much as the full version.
That's true. That's a good point.
You can put, if you're really targeting mobile, sometimes you can really try to cut it down.
Yeah, that's a very
where you don't even load the image, or whatever. So
yeah. No, that's a very good point. Your file sizes and all that stuff would definitely be smaller if you're at a smaller, size or whatever. But I have to tell you, it would irritate me if I was going to a site that I liked the full size, and then because I was on my iPhone, it gave me the one column version. It'd be annoying. I'd be like, fuck, I want to see the rest of the columns the way it's usually laid out. I prefer a choice, but a lot of times with the media query or whatever, you don't have those choices. It just gives you the one column instantly. So in my opinion, I think it's better just to go ahead and design for the 960 width that'll accommodate 80-90% of the people out there, in my opinion. Now, of course, you're going to have people that are on the old school WAP phones and that they can't see a browser page and they can't zoom in and out. Yeah, you're right. For those, you're kind of screwed. BlackBerry, older BlackBerry people, I don't know, but most people are getting smartphones now, right? I mean, what do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. It's tough. I think designing for mobile is smart, but I think what you're saying is probably right on. Just make sure that your site works on a mobile, but showing it as it's intended on the desktop might make the most sense. Give you the freedom of what you would expect to. Why give you like two custom, crazy, random experiences?
Exactly, and there's so many different platforms out with the TV and this that, and supposedly this responsive with the multiple layers, multiple screen widths would solve all that. I just haven't seen. I take that back. I have seen some really good examples of it, but for the most part, they tend not to be that great. So that's just my opinion on the matter. I'm more than happy to debate this with other people on this. Really, what you should be doing is looking at your stats if you've been around for a while, and you should look at the numbers. You should say, oh, I got a lot of people that are using IE6 from China. All right, great. If that's the case, then get rid of all your images and just serve up text or some shit. But I think most people, especially in the U.S., are getting on board the smartphone bandwagon now. So, in my opinion, the zoom in and pinch out suffices.
Yeah,
So,
I really appreciate that you take that opinion because I sort of tend to be a standard, like an HTML standard purist,
right.
and I sort of detest native apps when you don't need them.
Yes.
Like when a native app is just serving as like a Safari wrapper.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why, or if your native app requires the internet and is really nothing more than like a social network.
Right.
Like Facebook doesn't really need to be a native app, and we've seen that. And so I always appreciate, not messing with things when you don't really have to.
Right.
I think that when the iPhone came out, they really were like, hey, look, the beauty of it was that Safari worked like your desktop Safari.
Exactly.
And
that you didn't need to have a mobile website to look at.
Because everything before that was WAP or something, right?
Exactly.
Did you mention that? Like
Exactly.
.wap file.
Yeah.
It's like some magic, like non-HTML. And,
Right.
I think you can do something by going down to one column, but maybe that's when you get more like application specific.
Right.
And you're producing menus and like really kind of more active with the application.
Right. So yeah, we're drifting off topic here for Floaty, but this brought up a real nest of issues.
Precious topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think mobile is like everyone's really worried and working on it right now.
I just,
been talking about it a lot for the past couple of years, but there's still no nirvana.
I have to tell you, man, there's so many people that they're just all about this whole responsive religion. I'm just not sold on it. Every time I see these one column responsive websites, it just doesn't. I would prefer to have the normal. The 960 width or the 980 width thing. That's the way. And you're right. And Apple Safari with their mobile browser allowed you to look at normal websites on your phone. That's the whole fucking point.
That was the magic of it, yeah. Because everything else was like squish and like whatever, and like this was like the internet phone.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, if you design for 960, then you're really going to accommodate I think even TVs will eventually be able to see the 960 width. I mean, that's the other big form factor that has yet to catch on. But once the browsing the web on your TV and browsing your phone on your web on your smartphone accommodates 960 wide, then I think you're fine. I don't think you need these 4 sets of designs with all these floating the images that'll scale down to the one column and all that other shit. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for the designers. It's a lot of work for the developers. I just don't think it's necessary all the time. So. Anyways, let's move on because I can talk about that for a while. Oh shit!
I mean that depends on.
Let me do the rating.
Design,
I really like.
You can see mine in there. I mean, it really depends, I think, on what the business is, whether or not they need a specific mobile thing, and like you said, the effort of scaling the images and whatever that takes. I mean, I think Floaty is probably going to do some of that for you. There's actually another product that we may cover on a later show that. Is already launched. It's got a demo. I've seen it in use that really does convert your whole site to mobile like quite magically, and has a whole interface where you can edit it and modify it. And,
gotcha.
But same fundamental questions come to mind: is like, do we even really want this?
Yeah.
And as a technical person, I like scream. I'm like, oh, you just like totally took this like hybrid crazy version of the site to mobile.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. So it's an interesting debate, but we can talk about that a little bit later.
All right, what's up next?
Let's see. So we've got personalized news for the startup world. WiseRadar. Let's check them out. WiseRadar.com.
Cool.
Get relevant news for your startup. WiseRadar is a free daily email personalized with just the news that matter in your space. Okay, that's cool. So it's an email service. I love that. I'm a big fan of email services because it has built-in marketing properties. Designed to make you productive. Your news are organized by company, prioritized by important, shareable in a single link, single click. Discover interesting companies, new competitor, potential partner. Keeps getting better every day. All right, and then free for our beta supporters. Okay, now Jeff.
It says join with LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, there's a beta for the LinkedIn join. All right, so now Jeff, my big question to you is how is this different from Google Alerts? Like if I set a bunch of alerts up in Google and then just say, hey, track these keywords, and then send me an alert. I mean, I can understand how maybe they're aggregating that and maybe putting it into a nice format.
How are you going to discover new things with that? Certain keywords, I guess.
Yeah, that's the whole point, right? You set up a bunch of keywords, and then it sends you alerts. Honestly, I haven't really used Google Alerts, so I know a lot of people swear by it. I don't know how they.
You don't use it?
I don't use it.
Oh,
I know.
Wow. Fuck them all. So I certainly have one for smoking hot coffee, which is I think I tried to filter like hacker news with like show hacker news.
Oh, so there's a way to filtering the output, or?
Well, no. Typically on Hacker News, people will post like it's kind of like a category, right? It's like show Hacker News. Here's my weekend project.
Okay.
So it'll start with those two words: show HN : colon.
Gotcha.
And so I think I have a couple alerts similar to that that help me create a feed, and I subscribe to it through the defunct Google Reader via RSS rather than email. But then I have this nice feed that I can just, when I'm interested, I can go in there and just scroll through it and look for interesting projects that people have been hacking together, or kind of an aggregate of these different feeds. And
okay, that's cool. That's cool.
These different keywords like. Here's my new project, or you can kind of, but it really takes being creative. So WiseRadar, I think, is making a commercial product out of what Google Alerts. People just don't know how to use it, or they don't have the desire, the effort. Like it's a really powerful tool, but you have to really.
It's a super powerful tool.
I mean, I was listening to someone talk about the same thing about like email filters, right? Like in the spam conversation, like you can easily get rid of like all your spam if you just set up a filter each time you get a buy this pill, okay, put that on the list. Like
exactly.
You can relatively easily create manual filters to do that stuff, but in reality most people aren't going to go to that effort. And with a Google Gmail or with a WiseRadar, you can aggregate that effort, right?
You know what? And so you just brought up a very good point. If a service like this kind of does a lot of the legwork for you, then I could see it totally working.
Because we're finding keywords, like how do you know what keywords to be alerted on?
That's
when
true.
I think they're going to try to kind of help guide you.
That's true. So my big question here, Jeff, is where do they make money? Do they get enough people send enough emails? They start putting their own ads in there. Is that what they're going to start reselling the space?
Right?
What was that?
Email's everything, right?
It is. Email is
Super
everything.
valuable.
So if they can get enough people using their service, I could totally see them monetizing it. I don't see an issue there. I just don't see any monetization here yet, and looks like they're still in beta, so that explains why we're not seeing a lot of development. But design-wise, it's gorgeous. Love the design. Beautiful. Originality, I don't know. God, I don't know, Jeff. What do you think? I've seen this kind of stuff before. I'd give it probably maybe a 2 for originality. Maybe 3, because it is focused on startups, focused on just that vertical.
Yeah, starting with startups is smart. I'm gonna give it a 4 for originality, just because. So I think wasn't there a big buy, like Yahoo just spent some money on some kid who wrote something like this that does like aggregated news.
Oh, that's right.
News.
Yeah, they bought
Or
that kid like $30 million or some shit.
Yeah, was it Sumley? I didn't really read the story, but I mean, to me, I remember thinking about this a long time ago. I think Tech Meme, I think, is kind of doing this in the tech space.
Tech Meme in many ways,
which is taking, summarizing, like grouping articles, like, oh, all these articles are about the same thing, group them up, summarize them. I think that is very interesting and helpful. It makes it personalized. I think going after startups is interesting in the email space. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to try it. I'm trying to connect with my LinkedIn.
I give these guys a 4 for survival and marketing, simply because they picked a decent vertical. Startups are people behind startups are always behind their computers, and they've got email. It's connected to email. This thing comes to you. You don't have to go to it. So I love that. I love anything that you don't have to. I'll make sense of stuff to you, and so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like the email digests are great, but sometimes I'd prefer to be able to dip my toe in the stream as well.
Okay. Well, I think there's definitely room for both. I get a newsletter for JavaScript stuff, and it's always very interesting. It's one of the things I always open up. I get a lot of random crap, and that was one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess personally, like email, I feel like I don't know, in a conversation. Whereas sometimes when I want to consume the news, I'm more of like a laid back, like I'm ready to open a book, kind of like get my knowledge on.
I
don't know. Sometimes it's a different,
Yeah, I guess it depends on what mode you're in. But all right, guys, I think that does it for us today, Jeff. Unless you have anything else to add.
No, this looks great.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of Smoking Hot Coffee. Please tell your friends, family about our show. Link to us. Give us your feedback. You can reach Jeff at @Comster, and you can reach me at @Amol_Patel on Twitter. Jeff?
That's about it. Everyone go to our website, smokinghotcoffee.com, and in the top right corner, hit the subscribe button, and you can find all the channels that we're in. Also, we're trying to start doing more interviews, and we're getting that going. So if any of you guys are interested in having us interview someone, or there's a startup you're interested in, or you have a startup that you want to have on the show, please get in touch with us.
Yeah, if you're hatching your startup and you're looking for some exposure, we're building our audience, and I think it'd be really great to have you guys on the show. So
yeah, we love to get behind the scenes and learn from the entrepreneurs themselves.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely hit us up, and I will catch you online.
All right. Have a great weekend.